Dr. ChaCha Hudson is a fashion educator, researcher, and community builder. She's the founder of the Sewcial Cafe, which is here in Frederick, a fabric-specific makerspace offering classes and a sense of community. Would you all welcome Dr. Hudson?
Thank you all for coming out today. Thank you, Delaplane, for having me. So I like for my talks to be more like conversations. So there is going to be some questions that I'm going to ask. We're going to engage one another, and we're going to be in community. So if you're okay with that, I'll get started. All right, so for anybody who came to She Pitch last week, which is put on by the Frederick Chamber of Commerce, these first 3 slides are what I started with because they basically show why I do what I do. So this first one is from a student of mine who said that it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Our class ended around 8 p.m. and she couldn't go to sleep because she said her heart was so full from the workshop that we did. So those stories are the things that it has me do the things that really, I'm already feeling like touched. Those are the things that get me out of bed in the morning, those kind of stories. This one is from Lynn. She went to a conference and she got compliments on the pants that she made with me. And she was so excited because pants in the stores don't fit her well. So just having that interaction where I'm able to create an environment where you're able to create your own garments that fit well, it meant so much to her and it means so much to me. Also, I have Deborah, who's also one of my students who her mother passed last year and she didn't learn how to sew from her mother, so she came to me this year to learn how to sew. And now she's saying she feels more connected with her mom now that she knows how to sew. So in that process, it's becoming more therapeutic for her. And I'm glad that I can have a space that helps people feel this way. So who am I? I'm Dr. ChaCha Hudson. I'm a fashion designer. I'm a researcher, pattern maker, draper, maker, advocate for inclusive design, and I wear a lot of hats. And we're going to talk about my whole crazy journey today. So I want to ask you guys the question, when did you first realize that you were creative or that you like to make things? Anybody? What age were you? 4. 4, okay, awesome.
For as long as I can remember.
For as long as you can remember. As long as you could create, you were creating.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Same.
Being a little child, right? So for me, as a child, I felt like I was creative, but it wasn't until I was 12 years old and I came to my mom and I said, I want to learn how to sew. And I really don't know where this came from, and I get that question all the time. Well, why sewing? I don't know. I came to my mom, said I wanted to learn how to sew, and she's one of those moms that if you say that you want to do something, she'll put you in a class or a workshop so that you can do it. She didn't sew at all. So she did take me to a sewing school, and the funny thing is, the other day I rode past it. It was in Philadelphia because that's where I'm from. And it's no longer there, but it was just very nostalgic for me to be in that same space. But fun fact is that I got kicked out of that school. So I think I was in that school for maybe 2 months-ish. I'm gonna put some context around that. So,
Oh, yes.
yeah, right? So I'm 12 years old. It is on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Right, see? It wasn't an excuse, you understand. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's during the school year. So I missed 3 classes. And their rule is if you miss 3 classes, then you're out. Even if you paid for the class. So we paid for the class, but I still got booted out. But that didn't stop me because I continued to sew. So I knew that I wanted to be a fashion designer around that time. And I thought that it was going to be like a really straight path. Like I'm going to go from being a student to being a designer, and it was just going to be great, and my career was going to be set. And this is what happened. You're going to see that I took a lot of different routes to get to where I am now, and this is not even the final step. So there's a lot of different a lot of different career changes, but they're still in fashion. So fashion is like the root, and that's what cements me. But then there's other ways that I kind of express my creativity with fashion. All right, so it starts here at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. So actually before that, I said that I wanted to go to Savannah College of Art and Design. And that was the only school I applied for. I drove, well, my mom drove me down to Savannah, and I think it was about 14 hours. And then I got there, and I was like, Mom, this is too far. And she was like, you knew that before we took the drive. So we got down there, and I did not go to Savannah College of Art and Design. I ended up going back to Philadelphia, and I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, got my bachelor's degree in fashion design. And then I started later on teaching at Moore College of Art and Design. And then I got my master's in fashion and apparel studies from the University of Delaware, and also taught full-time at the University of Delaware. Then made another pivot to Syracuse University, where I taught before I came here to Frederick. And then I became a researcher at Iowa State University and got my PhD in apparel merchandising and design. So, so there were a lot of things that happened, and we'll go over that. All right, so at the University of Delaware, I was given a full scholarship to come and teach, and then also be a contracted adjunct professor, teaching 3 classes, which is a full load for anybody who teaches. Most semesters, if you're teaching full-time, you're teaching either 3 or 4 classes. So I was teaching 3 classes. I was going to school full-time. I had a studio in Philadelphia, but I couldn't maintain having a studio in Philadelphia and also working and going to school at the University of Delaware. The commute was an hour there and an hour back, and it was just a lot for me. So I shut down my studio, and I called around to a bunch of different co-working spaces. And I asked if I would be able to bring my sewing machine and do some co-working. And the only reason why I decided to do that is because we had a sewing studio at the University of Delaware, but because I was a professor, when I would go into the sewing studio, people would come to me and think like, oh, I can just get help with my project. And I couldn't work on my own stuff. So I called around to some different co-working spaces, and there was no creative co-working space for me to come and bring a sewing machine. So I was like, I can't be the only one who wants to do this. So I created my own. I created the Sewcial Cafe in Philadelphia in 2018, and it was amazing. These are just some headlines from the University of Delaware where they featured the Sewcial Cafe. I had the great opportunity to go to Ghana and also teach at 2 fashion design schools there while going to school, and also teaching at the University of Delaware. Don't know how I did it, but I did it, and it was a great time. So I wanted to ask, have you ever walked into a creative space and immediately felt like you belong? Yeah? Any creative spaces that you can think of here in Frederick that you've walked into? Delaplane? Mm-hmm. Anywhere else? Yes.
Book arts.
Yeah,
Oh, love the Book Art Center. Anyone else?
Noma Gallery.
I'm sorry?
Noma Gallery.
Oh, no. I've never been.
Up on 5th and Market.
Oh, gotta go.
Yeah, I've walked past, but I've never
For
been.
the end of the year, because all the artists are leaving that.
Yeah, I did hear that. I did hear that, unfortunately. Is there anyone who felt the opposite, going into a creative space and like, this is not for me, this is not the vibe? Yeah. I'm not going to have you call those spaces out. I'm not going to have you call them out, but I just wanted to know if you...
Between friends, we say it.
I'll come to you later and ask. But yeah, there are some spaces that make you feel very like welcomed, and then other spaces where you immediately want to leave. Now, what makes you feel like you belong in the space? What is it about the space that makes you feel like you belong? Anything you can think
Inclusive of everything.
of? Inclusive.
Beginners, advanced, old, young.
Hmm. So it doesn't matter where you're starting at, you're still included in the activities that the space can provide for you. Anything else?
Yeah, along with that, the sense of community.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Having a sense of community.
Being welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are some things that came up for me. And when I was creating the space, what I wanted other people to feel, I wanted it to feel fun, because as adults, I don't think that we have enough fun, and we don't focus on fun enough. So I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be welcoming. I wanted to encourage people, and I wanted them to feel encouraged by others who are in the space. I wanted it to be accessible. I wanted it to have a lot of support. I wanted it to be diverse. These are all of the things that I thought about when I was creating the Sewcial Cafe when I was in Philadelphia. And this is the space. So, hence cafe. When you first walk in, we had like a cafe area, and then we also had our sewing area, which was just off of this right here. I wish I had a panoramic view of how it looked. You guys would love it. It was amazing. We also had classes, workshops, sip and souls, anything that you can think of we had in the space. I had guests come in and do lectures, guests come in to do Q&A. It was a really good time. This was one of our biggest events that we had. I don't know if you all are familiar with Mimi G and Norris, but if you sew, then you know Simplicity Patterns. She's the creative director of Simplicity Patterns. So she came in and she talked to a large group. There were even people who flew in just to see her because she never does meet and greets. So it was a big thing, and I was very proud of it. These are some of the quotes from people who attended. It was, "The atmosphere makes creativity feel effortless and fun. It's truly a network of friends sharing knowledge. We all know as adults it's really hard to make friends after a certain age because you're not exposed to other people who are doing the same things that you're doing. You may have your high school friends or middle school friends, college friends, but new friends, you don't really make new friends unless you intentionally do that." Another quote, "I never thought I would be able to make my own clothes that I love." And that was part of the mission too. Make clothes that you love. So we were doing a bunch of pop-up shops. We were also doing pop-up sewing experiences. This is me with a group of ladies from the Wilmington Alliance, which is a nonprofit in Wilmington, Delaware. And they were working with me to do a pilot program for the Sewcial Cafe in Delaware. COVID hit. So we did not do the pilot program, and I also had to close down the Sewcial Cafe. Which, I know, right? It was a very difficult time. This is a picture that the Philadelphia Inquirer came and took a picture of me in the studio. I'm the only person in like a 2,300 square foot studio because I wasn't considered like a necessary business, so nobody could actually come in. But I was making a ton of masks. Anybody who sews was probably making a ton of masks. I was making them for healthcare workers. I was also selling them. I was making them for the homeless. There were so many masks that were made. I literally made thousands of masks. So this is all the news coverage that I got. It was a lot of people, because we were one of the first communities to make masks. So even though people couldn't be in with me, they were making masks from home. So we were featured on Philadelphia Inquirer, CBS, pretty much everywhere, NBC. Everywhere that you can think of, we were featured about the masks that we were donating, which was really cool, but also very exhausting. And I couldn't be with my community. I was in a silo. I was by myself. So, what did you learn during COVID? And I know a lot of us don't talk about COVID anymore. It's like the thing that never happened. We don't want to talk about it. But what did you learn about community during that time? I know for me, I learned that I can't do without community. I need to be in community with people. I need to work with people. I need to bounce ideas off of people. Being by myself, I mean, I love being by myself. I love my alone time. But I also really love being in community. So is there anything that you guys have thought about during COVID about community. Did it change your perspective on community at all? Yeah.
I painted rocks and left them around my neighborhood.
Oh, I love that.
And they were always themed. So I have a holiday series, I had a back to school series, I had a welcome spring series, and I just left them on people's lawns.
Oh, I love that so much. Anyone else?
We can't top that.
Well, okay, I have a funny story about that. So recent about the rocks. Yeah, about you like a funny story about rocks? Yeah, it's funny. Because I didn't realize that it was a thing for people to paint on rocks and then you find it and maybe you post it on social media and things like that, right? So my brother gave me one that he painted. So I put my key to my studio in back of it. You know how you take rocks and you put it outside? So my intern was like, people pick those up and take it with them. And I'm like, they do? So now we have rocks that we just leave outside and people take pictures of, and then I had to bring that other rock inside because that wasn't going to work. That would have been a very unfortunate situation. Huh?
Use a plain rock.
Right, I thought, oh, why not use the one that my brother painted? That was cute. Yeah, no. Shouldn't do that. Okay, so I have another funny story to tell you. So I told you I was on all of these different news channels and things, right? So somebody it's a outdoor mall called Suburban Square, right outside of Philadelphia. And their manager reached out to me and said, hey, I saw you on the news. Would you make some reindeer clothes for me? Like, could you imagine that call? Can you make some reindeer clothes for me? And I'm like, what do you mean? So of course I'm thinking like maybe it's a fixture outside that's like on all fours or something like that. And she was like, come over and I'll show you. And it's these 8-foot reindeers. And she's like, I want them to be really dressed up and I want to encourage people to wear their masks while they're shopping. So I want them to have masks on. And it was just like, oh, okay, I can do that. And it was probably one of the best jobs I ever had. It was amazing. It was a great time. Of course, I couldn't have other people there with me. I had one other person who was taking pictures, but I couldn't have my community with me, and it would have been something really nice to share with them. But it was a good time. Like, could you imagine dressing these 8-foot reindeer? And they were like stationed outside of the Apple store and outside of Sephora and like all of the, big companies. So it was really cool. So now you see, like when I talk about this is my career, yeah, it all makes sense now. Okay, so I also had a clothing line, or have a clothing line called Ace Blakely. And Ace Blakely was an inclusive clothing line for women. And I had a meeting with this woman right here. You can see us in this picture. Her name is Fern Malice. So she is the creator of New York Fashion Week. So she came to review my collection at Fashion Week, and she gave me a bit of advice that stayed with me. She said, you're making inclusive collections, which is great, but maybe you need to focus more on the people who are excluded in the fashion industry. So focusing more on my plus size customer opposed to my straight size. So when you talk about fashion, the straight sizes are the smaller sizes, and then plus sizes are the larger sizes. And that's something that stuck with me, because she was explaining how all of the straight sizes, they have so many different options, but plus sizes, they really don't. So who else do you feel like is left out of the fashion conversation, or even just excluded in the fashion industry?
Probably people with physical disabilities.
Absolutely. Any other groups? The thing is, unfortunately, the fashion industry is so exclusive that pretty much everybody is excluded, which is unfortunate. Okay, so we're fast forwarding right after COVID. So in 2021, I was hired by Syracuse University to come and teach fashion design, pattern making, draping, but also to lead this initiative called Fashion Without Limits. I don't know if anybody's familiar with supermodel Emmy. She is an alumni from Syracuse University, but she's also considered the first plus size supermodel. And she started this initiative so that students can get exposed to designing for plus sizes, and it's a competition. So you compete against all of your peers. All of you are given the same materials, all of the same fabric, and you create a garment. One garment is selected to be mass produced, and then you also get paid from your garment being mass produced. By different years, it would change, but it would be by a big plus size, not necessarily a wholesaler, but a design firm. So we were also featured in WWD. This is my student, Nina, and from her design, it was the most practical to be produced, and it was also a very beautiful design, and you can see some of the other designs down here at the bottom. And this is a presentation that my junior students did of their designs, because every year it's a different color and everything. For theirs, it was all black. It wasn't always black, just to let you know, because there's like a misconception that most plus size people want to wear black so that they look slimmer, and that wasn't what we were trying to, that wasn't the message that we were trying to amplify there. All right, so while I'm teaching at Syracuse University, I come to find out about some different professors. I actually knew about these two when I was at the University of Delaware. But Martha Hall, who has a PhD in biomechanics, and then Michelle Lobo, who I believe her major was in apparel, but they both were focusing on inclusive design and functional design and adaptive design. So Martha Hall was the head of the Fashion Innovation Center at the University of Delaware, and they were creating garments for people with disabilities, but they were also creating functional garments for like firefighters and having more breathable garments for them as they do their jobs. But then Michelle Lobo had moved to Learn, and in that innovation lab, they were helping kids who, without them, they actually wouldn't be able to move. So these kids couldn't move their arms or their legs, and they were creating, I guess, fashion or apparel devices to allow them to be able to move their arms and legs. Dr. Ike and Dr. McKinney, Dr. Ike was actually my advisor for my PhD. They came out with this open educational resource, meaning that it's free if you go online and just Google adaptive apparel design, OER. This will come up, and it's a whole booklet about how to design for people with physical disabilities, also cognitive disabilities. And looking at the work from all of these professors was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to the fashion industry than what I could have even thought. Like even now when I tell people I have my PhD in apparel merchandising and design, they're like, so you're a doctor of fashion? He's like, yeah, that's a thing. And most people don't know that because they don't know what could be done with the research that we do. So looking at these professors and seeing what they were doing, it made me think about a few different things. It made me think about how can I be involved? How can I have my students be involved? And what can I do to make a difference? So I put this quote up here, "Nothing about me without me," from James Charlton, who's a disability rights activist. Because I know a lot of times in the disability communities, there's people that are trying to help, but without getting input from those people who are in the community. So I wanted to ask you all the question, what changes when people get to participate in designing the things intended for them?
There's a sense of ownership and pride in the product.
Absolutely,
They
yeah.
tell you what they need
Yeah,
and what they're looking for rather than you guessing.
right.
Shot in the dark type thing.
Not what you think they need.
Right, and you're inferring something about them that doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yep. Anyone else? What changes?
Oh, they can be themselves more. They can let their
Yeah.
freak flag fly. Stuck in a box.
Exactly. Because why do I have to live by what you think I should look like? coming outside. I should have autonomy over my body and how I look.
Ideas can be offered from experience.
Say it again.
Ideas can be offered from experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel like you have a voice. Like, you want to be able to speak up for yourself because you do have your own sense of identity and you want to be able to show that in the public. So I decided to start doing some inclusive design. When you look up adaptive apparel, you don't see anything for evening wear. So I decided to do some different evening wear products using magnetic closures. Also, another thing that I did here on the dress, you can't really see it, and actually in person you can't see it really, is an invisible zipper in the front so that you don't have to reach in the back to unzip. Now, everybody who's had an invisible zipper in the dress, even without a physical disability, how helpful would it be if your zipper is in the front or on the side and not in the back?
I just want to call out Frederick's own Claire Ricardo, who in the 40s and 50s had side zips.
Mm-hmm.
They work then, yeah.
Yeah, but when you have adaptive design, you're not just designing for people with or designing or helping people with physical disabilities. You're helping everybody. And I wish more people knew that. So I was also working on projects like this for wheelchair users. This is a detachable skirt, but it doesn't have a back. So a lot of times with people who sit in the wheelchair all day, the fabric bunches in back of them and it becomes really uncomfortable. So if you don't have that extra fabric, then it's a lot better for you. Also, I have this invisible zipper. How many people know that they have separating invisible zippers? It's a thing. So, right? So we have this long invisible zipper that can be completely unzipped, opened up, and then you can easily put it on either yourself or have a caretaker put it on for you. Then I started working with master students like Rabia over here, and then I was working with Arise Adaptive Design, which is an awesome nonprofit in Syracuse, New York, and they create adaptive products for kids and adults, but mostly kids. So you know how you might have a toy for a kid and they have to push down? Some kids can't push down on that toy so it can make the noise or whatever it is. So it'll be something where you could just blow and then it'll make the noise. Or, you know, there's different ways that they create their toys and adaptive products so that it's easy for kids with physical and cognitive disabilities to use. These are some of my students. We exhibited our work at Syracuse University at their Disability Summit. And this was the first time they've ever done any work like this. And it blew them away how interested people were in the work that they were doing. And it wasn't that they were just creating something pretty, they were creating something functional. So,
About time.
right? And it was called Pioneering Design Possibilities. And you can see more of their work here as well. They all worked on, they were given a specific disability that they had to address. Now, this is one of our students who put some braille on the garment so that you can know the front, back, also know what color it is, how to put it on, how to take it off. So that was really helpful. It was a skirt and a vest, a two-piece outfit. And then we had a group who also had a weighted vest for people with some sensory issues. They would have fabrics that were really soft. They were really soft to the touch. They have the weighted vest, and then they have it so that there's different textiles and different sensory for the top, also for the pants. The pants actually unzip all the way up with invisible zippers. It was just, they did some really, really good work. This one was for amputee. So the thing that I really love about working with these students is that they didn't create garments that were just functional. They created garments that were also aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. So you wouldn't know that this was for an amputee. You would just think that it's just a really cool outfit. But the pants have Velcro that go all the way up on both sides, also in the centers. Also, the shirt has snaps going down at the shoulder. It opens up. So there was a lot of thought put into it by my students, and I really appreciate them doing, and these are undergrads. I appreciate them doing the research that they did in order to create these garments. I also put it out there to a lot of the schools that were commenting on how great the things I was doing was. I'm like, okay, well, if you think that it's great for my students to do things with disabilities and create these garments, what about at your school? And then I got the pushback that it was like, we don't have enough time, we don't have enough space in our curriculum to do that. So I came up with this. It's called the Ideal Network. So it's a pilot program with 10 schools, and it's mostly virtual, but all of our schools will get together on a call and talk about all the different adaptive and functional apparel that's needed. The students will decide on what projects they want to work on, and then we'll do a symposium in the spring of 2027. Right now, the pushback is about funding, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to move past that and actually do that at the end of this year. And from all of that and all of the research that I've been doing, my open educational resource will be available this fall, and it is a free guide to designing for plus sizes. So I am doing this so that there is no excuse for people to say, I don't know how to design for plus sizes, and that's why I don't teach it to my students, because it's going to be all here for the teachers, but then also for the students who want to go off on their own and just figure it out. Unfortunately, some of them may have to do that because of the pushback about curriculum in different schools. Now, on a brighter note, we reopened the Sewcial Cafe in the fall of last year here in Frederick. Back in November, I did a soft opening, but this opening, which a lot of people probably saw from social media, was from June of this year. And initially, the plan was to, community was the base of the Sewcial Cafe. But there was also wanting to make sure that people had space to create, not just for our workshops, but just come in and create equipment, and then also business development. Because for me, I thought it was important to have a space where people can turn the side hustle of sewing into their own small businesses. And then I realized when I came here that I really want to focus more on the community. I want to double down on the community. And I know that in these communities, I can help women feel more confident and have autonomy over their appearance when they go outside. Also, I want to help people with their technical skills. A lot of people are learning from YouTube nowadays, which is, it's...
Sorry.
YouTube is great. There's a lot of resources on YouTube. Some YouTube videos are great. But there's a lot of information that's skipped. It's like there are assumptions that you know how to do certain things. So there's a lot that somebody can learn in person, and I want it to be that company for everybody. I want it to be that community for the person who's looking for me. So I just wanted to put this in here because I think that this is ridiculous. This was from the literature, but it is very low. And I don't know how accurate it is. I would probably bump it up even another 10%. But women are dissatisfied with the clothing that they have in stores, all of the options that are available. And for there to be so many options available and nobody's satisfied, what does that say about the fashion industry? But yeah, I'm hoping to be that community where people can come in and actually love the clothes that they're making for themselves. Now, the problem that I realize a lot of people here, or a lot of women in Frederick face, is the creativity, also the belonging, and also wanting that transformation. And I feel like we do it really well at the Sewcial Cafe, allowing people to feel like they belong and encouraging them to just be themselves. We don't have to fit into this cookie cutter uh, type of community, and we don't have to put on a face when we come to this community. You can just be yourself, and it's encouraged, and everybody there encourages you to just be you. And I know some people do sew at home. And when you're trying to run something past your husband about sewing, his eyes glaze over, and he has no idea what you're talking about. But then
Don't
you
ask him to measure.
can you measure me, please? So I know that people find that to be frustrating too. But you come into our space and you feel like you can do anything. So, what would make you more likely to join a creative space here in Frederick? The thing that I always get is I don't have time. I really want to, but I don't have time. Like, I want to be creative, I don't have time. Is there anything else that stops you from being in the creative communities that have been developed here in Frederick?
I think knowing the vibe of the space
Okay,
ahead of time,
yeah,
or knowing somebody that has been there before that can
to do a vibe check.
Yeah, give you somebody to go with, things
Yeah.
like that.
And the expectations,
Yeah,
because, like open sew, not many places anymore do open sew.
yeah.
And then people want to go someplace and force open sew, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. So.
Sound like you have experience with that.
Well, I think also it's marketing, because I'm a member of the Frederick Thread Sewing Guild neighborhood
Okay.
group. We have put things out in the paper, we have posted things, and it's really word of mouth that we have the 15, 16 people in our group. But I think, no longer having a casual place to meet up like Joanne's became, not having quality fabric for apparel available.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a quilt shop and it's very good, but now we have nothing except for your loft, which I hope you'll talk about. It's buying online, so it has become very isolated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point about Joann's, because a lot of people say they miss Joann's, but it's not really even about the fabric, to be honest. Because a lot of us were getting fabric from other places, but we would go to Joann's to just kind of window shop, and we would walk around. But also, it was good for quick
Well,
notions.
that's the big one.
Yeah, it was good
I
for
don't have
quick.
the right shade thread.
Yeah, like, okay, I need some thread. Oh, I need some interfacing. I need a zipper. Let me run to Joann's. And you felt kind of like a kid in a candy store. Yeah, when you're walking around, you're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So, yeah.
I was just gonna say another thing that normally happens when I'm in Joann's or any other craft places, that you run into other people who are equally as passionate. So
Yeah.
then you get that
That
sense of
sisterhood, that
community.
brotherhood,
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
lifts up your,
Mm-hmm.
it encourages you.
Yeah.
It encourages you, because it is a solitary thing at home, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you found because you have a creative space, has there been anybody who says, like, I really want to come to your creative space, but
Oh yeah.
what are the reasons?
I really want to come to your creative space, but I have to work every day, and I'm now the weekend to have my kids, or just adulting. Or I want to come to your creative space, but I'm not an artist, and that
Oh,
fear
yeah.
that we have. So yeah.
But I'm not an artist, I'm not
I'm not good enough.
I'm
creative.
not good at it. I'm not creative.
Wow. I saw your hand back here.
Yeah, I was saying, what I've noticed, and thank you for being here in Frederick, and I think what you're doing is just so interesting, and I'm not a person that has sewn, my sisters have, and my family, but not me. But what I am noticing, people who have not sewn, there is like a renewed interest in doing things by hand. As
Mhm.
I was just having this conversation, I think, with a coworker this morning, I interact with like a lot of like young 20-somethings as well, and they are all into doing things by hand. So there are these craft nights. So maybe aside from folks that have always sewn and used to go into Joann's and being in various quilt guilds and sewing groups, I think that there are young people gathering at breweries are waiter's table. You know, you
Right.
go in there and they become such social places. Even if you're not drinking alcohol, there's usually, you know, non-alcoholic beverages there. But people do game nights, of course, but like they're
Yeah.
getting together to have like these craft nights. And I think that would be so wonderful, you know, whether you have the wherewithal or somebody, you know, connected in your network to maybe, you know, tap into that. It would probably drive more people to at least what you do. I know
Right.
you're full in your place there, but like this is amazing and so eye-opening to me. You know, I'm coming from another design standpoint where I've designed, you know, my background was designing physical spaces for everybody, you know.
Nice.
So and that gets into all kinds of codes and stuff. So clothing, of course, we're toys, like you're saying, just functional things. So it's just wonderful and eye-opening what you're doing. But yeah, I think there is a very much a interest, a growing interest in like the young adults.
No, it absolutely is.
And don't you think there's some siloing, you know, like there's a group that really does costuming, Ren Fair, you know, Comic-Con, and then you have the quilters, and then you have the garment makers, and sometimes the garment makers are all three, you know, and I think it's costs too, because like, there are a few free spaces, like you've kind of indicated, that are organically growing. But I think there's some hesitation when you look at like the initial costs to get involved.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's like every artist, you don't have, you know, starving artists don't survive.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
we have to accept it costs money.
Right. No, you're right. But one thing that it makes me think about is you talk about silos, and I understand that, and I can, like, even being new to the area, like I see that there's apparel, and then there's quilting, and then there's, you know, crafting, like in different buckets, right? We're all in different areas. But then I have my friends here who all do like some of the things we do is similar and some of it is different, but we all come together to do things. Like Dee, yeah, Dee makes things and she does costume design and she's opening a costume design studio, you know, and I'm going to see how I can work with Dee. We're going to do some things this fall actually for Halloween, right? So it's that. And then there's Evoke right here with Keisha. So even though Keisha doesn't do sewing, we find ways that we can co-work together. Because it's one thing for me to oversee a co-working space where everybody's sewing, and then there's another for me to be in community with other people actually working.
And if they don't get discouraged in one area, they could go try another area.
There you
That's
go.
what happens. They get discouraged, they shut down everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not creative. That's where the I'm not creative comes in.
Right.
Not realizing, well, wait a minute, maybe I would enjoy doing costuming more than fashion or quilting more than this. And not many people are being that macro.
Right.
Everybody gets in their lane and
Yeah.
gets their snobbery going. I know you are.
But no, I get it. But then there's there's also that frustration that comes. Like anybody who has sewn and ran out of a bobbin halfway through their project, they know what the frustrations are, right? Also, there's things that I encourage people to do that they don't do, like making prototypes first before you cut into your good fabric, which is frustrating because you just spent, I don't know, a couple $100s on this fabric and you make something that doesn't fit. That's enough to make somebody want to quit.
Or they made it, yeah.
And then I wanted to also shout out Beth from Artisan, and she teaches apparel sewing, but we are not in competition with one another. We see how we can work together. So I think there needs to be more of that.
I think that's one of going back to the silos. There's a good side of that, and that is that there's so many different art spaces right in Frederick, and I think that it's not a competition because there's so many people, and there's so many different people who are looking for different vibes. So we talked about walking into a space and it feeling like you might need to go to a couple of different spaces and then find the one that fits you like a glove.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome to have that
Yeah, we get along, but my vibe is not your vibe. Your vibe is not Dee's vibe or Beth's vibe. Like,
I mean, we're similar,
we're similar, but we don't have that same vibe. Also, I can't offer classes to everybody. I had this conversation yesterday. I'm already running out of space. You know, I'm almost at a cap of the people I can have in my space. So I think there needs to be more collaboration going on here, and hopefully we can have conversations about how we would do that.
Well, also I think it's a matter of growth too, because when you look at what's being taught, like in the middle school, they don't call it home ec, they call it life skills. And, you know, I was a school nurse, so it may have changed because I retired, but, you know, there was only like one high school group I saw that was doing, at Linganore, they were doing clothing construction. But, you know, it's quite an investment to, even if you buy a $200 sewing machine,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite an investment. By the time you buy your scissors and your this and your that.
And don't talk about the fabric addiction.
And that's the awesome part about your space then. They don't necessarily have to have all that equipment.
Right.
They have just come there, you got everything.
Yeah, you can just use the space. Also, we do have fabric. I get accused of making people addicts when it comes to fabric, but it's not my fault that people are coming in and it's like, I want to buy fabric, and then it's like, oh, but I need that machine. What machine do you have? Oh, I think I'm going to get that machine. And then the serger, oh yeah, I'm going to pick that up too. And then, oh, I really like those scissors. Let me go on Amazon. Like, it turns into a whole thing, and we all know that. So that is the end of my presentation. If anybody wants to join the mailing list, you can scan the QR code here. I also welcome you to come visit me. I would love for you to come visit me at 306 West Patrick Street, right in downtown Frederick. Anybody have any questions? Yes.
Yeah, so how do we do that? Just come into your space and come and see you?
Yeah, you can come and see me.
Well, what
So-
are your hours?
Can we
So that's the thing too. Okay. So we have to backtrack a little bit. So I am open during my workshop hours, which are usually at night from 6 to 8 p.m. But there's also socialite nights. So people who have a membership, they can come in, use the machines, and it's not a class, it's just space for you to work. You can use the cutting tables, things like that. And that's usually at night from 6 to 9 p.m. And then sometimes if I'm at the studio, I'll just send out a group text and say, hey, I'm here, you guys want to come through? And people will come, and they will sew, and we have a good time. So,
Those are all evening hours.
say it again.
Where's your shop physically located? What are you next to?
Oh, I get this question all the time. But I am 2 blocks from Bentstown Restaurant, a block from Soul Yoga. I'm trying to think of big things.
Just that part of us.
Oh, around the corner from Baker Park. Why don't I ever say that? What?
It's a long
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. I could be around any corner of Baker Park. The decorated window that's right there. What's that street? Is that Bent's? Bent's, right? Yeah. That decorated window, I'm right down the street from that. But on Patrick Street, on West Patrick.
But you said only evening hours. Some of us older people do stuff during the day.
Okay, well let's talk. Because the thing is, I'm there all the time. But most of the people,
All the time. I walked up there one day.
I probably took a walk. Because I do that too.
It was really
Can we show it today, right now?
Well, I'm going there after I leave here. So if you would like to come by, you can. Yes.
also a QR code on your door if you want to schedule a visit.
Yes. Most people just walk up and they don't scan the QR code. They just walk up and knock on the door. But yes, there is a QR code for you to scan and schedule an appointment to just come and tour the space. You were going to ask?
Are there classes? Like
Yes.
pattern design class?
So I have different levels, right? I have from level 1 to level 4. Level 1 is you're just beginning. You don't know anything about the sewing machine. Like, you have no idea, right? That's a 4-week class. After level 1 class, you graduate to level 2. Level 2 is you're making clothes with me, and then you're also kind of dabbling in making your own clothes at home, right? Level 3 is you got this. I can give you a intermediate pattern, and you're able to create it on your own. That's level 3. Level 4 is, okay, I have a design in my head. I'm creating garment designs. I want to pattern make, I want to drape, and I want to actually create this garment, and that's level 4. So most of the people who come into my classes are level 1, level 2. I haven't gotten anybody that came in and was like, okay, I'm ready to, I have this experience and I'm ready to create patterns.
That's because they don't know you're there. Yeah. Because they're out there.
Yeah, well, I need to find those people because I don't know where they are. It's usually the beginners or slightly intermediate people or advanced beginners that come to me, not advanced. But I would.
I'll forward you all the emails I get.
Okay, yeah, I would love to offer a pattern making class. I would love it. Anyone else? I don't know how we are with time because I feel like I was just yapping. Okay.
I wanted to plug in for both FBAC and you.
Okay.
There's currently a show going on just up the street at Frederick Book Arts that includes one of ChaCha's designs.
Yes.
And it is fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you haven't gone up there, go up just to see what she did with muslin, hand printing, and draping.
Yeah,
It's remarkable.
Thank you so much. They showed me how to print when I was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Of course, because I do fashion, it's like, well, how do I get this onto fabric? So then I was able to, actually, for that exhibit, it was amazing. I stayed up all night just printing fabric. And that was like the most fun that I had in a while because, I don't know, like I love teaching the classes, but it's really repetitive for me, and I'm doing the same thing, and I'm teaching the same thing, and then I get a chance to kind of step outside of that and print fabric. I'm like, oh, I love this. I was like, that's how you know that you love something and you're having fun when time gets away from you so much that it's the middle of the night and you're still working. And I really enjoyed making that piece. So thank you for plugging that piece.
Just one more thing.
Yeah.
They're not open again until the 18th. They're doing maintenance right now.
Well, that's good to know.
I have a question about your students. So, the students that you had in your inclusive design classes, I'm going to guess that most of them they came in, because I've known them all my life, with those, I just want to be a fashion designer. I want to be,
I want to be in New York, and I want to,
And once you got them into inclusive designing, are some of them going to stay there?
Oh, yes. Yes. They were exposed to it. And
void that needs to be filled.
Yeah. And then some of them, so for a lot of people, these issues are not pressing because they're not happening to them. But for some of my students, they were struggling with different physical issues or knew somebody close to them who was struggling. Yeah. So there were a few who were very interested in pivoting. I mean, they didn't start their career, but pivoting their ideas of fashion design and going more towards inclusive and functional apparel.
And then my other question,
Yeah.
you talked about funding. I'll be careful how I say this. What about the veteran organizations? Because they have many, many, many people with the wheelchair, amputee, et cetera, et cetera. What about funding from them? Was there any connection with them?
No, yeah, not that I know
There's a
of.
need.
Say it again.
Like the One Day Warrior people.
Okay.
One of my friends is a coach of them.
Oh, awesome. See, that's why it's good to say things out loud in front of people because you never know who knows who. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Anyone else have questions for me? Anything I can answer for you?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for having me.